Our next guest on the pod is running in the Boston Marathon for Team Dana Farber and the Skinny Pig Fund. I can't wait to hear all about that. He's coming to us from Michigan, but he is a New Englander. Dan Foley, welcome to the On the Runs podcast. What's up, man?
Hi, thank you guys for having me. This is the first time I've ever been on a podcast, by the way. So
really,
I'm a little
I'm
nervous.
happy that you're joining us and we get to get you into the podcast space. So welcome to On the Runs.
Thank you.
We're popping your podcast cherry tonight. That's what we're doing, Dan.
I was trying to say it nicer than that, but whatever.
No, just go with it. Dan, first question I have to ask, the Skinny Pig Fund. What's the Skinny Pig Fund?
Yeah, so the Skinny Pig Fund. So I'm running for Dana Farber, but I'm actually directing all of my funds to a specific oncologist at Dana Farber. Dr. McGregor was my brother's oncologist during his cancer battle. So as part of running for Dana Farber, I had the option of creating this generalized named fund, and I could have named it after my brother, or really I could name it anything. And we named it the Skinny Pig Fund. And the backstory to that is when my brother was battling cancer, he was at the same time he was getting a new pug for the family. And his little daughter really wanted to name the pug Skinny Pig. And they were totally against it. I thought it was cute. I thought it would have been a really great name. So when we created our first Dana Farber Jimmy Fun Walk team, we named it the Skinny Pig, Team Skinny Pig. And so I just kind of wanted to keep that going in my brother's memory, and just to kind of gives us a smile and a chuckle every time we hear it. And it's just goofy, right? So it's just something nice.
I love it.
Well, we're very sorry to hear about your brother, but I think this legacy that you built is amazing.
Yeah, trying.
So tell us about your brother then.
Yeah, so my brother Keith. Sorry.
Hey, let it out, man.
Yeah, I might. So my brother Keith was diagnosed with renal cell cancer in the fall of 2022. And unfortunately, he was diagnosed far too late. It had already spread from his kidney throughout his whole body, and it was stage 4. It's a really, really tough cancer. The prognosis wasn't very good, and so he went through a lot of treatment. He tried a lot of different experimental treatments, and they unfortunately didn't work. We tried to prolong his life as much as possible, and ultimately, he lost the battle. So he passed away in September 21st of this past year.
Oh, wow.
And so it's just about approaching 6 months. And I've always run for different charities and everything. And while my brother was alive, him and I talked about how that's what I put myself into. I put myself into running, into fundraising, and I set up this fund before he passed in August of last year. And I just told him I was going to work with his oncologist, and we were going to keep this going in his memory and make sure that other families wouldn't lose their father or their mother to renal cell cancer. So
wow, that is such an incredible thing you're doing, and it is wonderful for his memory. I got to give Dana Farber credit for allowing you to delegate where your funds go. I think that's an awesome thing to do, and just wow, Dan.
Yeah, it's really awesome that they have that option. It does come with, you have to raise more money than the typical marathon runner, but that's okay.
Oh boy.
But I think I like that. I do. Because, the whole Dana Farber team raises money for a lot of great causes, right? And I'm specifically directing it to one particular cause. So I completely understand that, and I'm more than happy to do it.
Gotcha.
Tell us about that process then. How did you get first on Team Dana Farber? And then what was the process to move the funds to the Skinny Pig Fund that you created?
Sure. So this kind of goes back in my history with marathon running and fundraising. So for 10 years, I was on Teddy's team.
Wow.
And yes, I've done a lot with them and love that team. I think you actually had someone on from Teddy's team last session, if I remember correctly.
I think you're right. Yeah, we had Looking at the list.
I'm like, I can find it too.
I don't see it.
Keep
so I
going.
don't.
Keep going.
That's
Yeah.
okay. That's okay. So when I first joined Teddy's team back in 2010, I became pretty close with the director of Teddy's team at the time. He actually moved on to Dana Farber and was in charge of the Jimmy Fun Walk. He's now since moved on to I believe team and training, but that's okay. So through that, he he knew about my family. Him and I were pretty close. He knew when my brother was diagnosed. He got me involved with the Jimmy Fund, and when he left, he introduced me to his predecessor. And she told me about the general name funds because she knew doing something specific to my brother was really important to me. So it was just kind of weird how the world works, and how you jump from one thing to another. And all the charities are important. And Teddy's team was really important to me at one point. They still are. My dad had a stroke. A lot of members of my family. But my brother was my best friend, and he was my brother, and he means everything to me. And he's left behind a beautiful little girl, and I want to do something special for him and just let her know what he means to me.
So is there a goal beyond the Boston Marathon then with the Skinny Pig Fund? Like, what's your goal to do to continue to honor Keith and continue to grow that fund?
Yeah, so the commitment for the Skinny Pig Fund is actually $100,000 commitment that we have to raise within 5 years. But we
wow.
yeah.
You're no stranger to fundraising, though,
No,
from what I gather.
honestly, my goal is to do $250,000, if not more. That's my ultimate
Good for
goal.
you.
So every Dana Farber event, we can designate to the Skinny Pig Fund. So we started this past fall, shortly after my brother passed. It was the Jimmy Fun Walk, and so we quickly got a small team together. My sister and I are doing the Boston together this year, and so her and I got a small team together for the Jimmy Fun Walk. We raised a real quick $10,000 for it, and now her and I are each committed to raising $20,000 for Boston. So by the end of April, we'll have hit over $50,000 for the Skinny Pig Fund.
You guys
but really,
are pros.
As long as they still want the money coming in, and as long as they're putting it towards finding a cure for this and finding treatments that prolong the lives of those that have it, I will keep giving everything I got to it.
Kudos to you, man. This is amazing.
Yeah, and excuse me for not knowing enough about it, but tell me a little bit about the cancer your brother had.
Yeah, so it's renal cell cancer, so it's kidney cancer, and he was 46, I think, when he was diagnosed, or 45. It's really rare in younger individuals. It's more common in, like, I think 60 plus. So just one summer, he was just having some back pain and thought he had just pulled a muscle, put it off for a little bit. Finally went and got it checked because it was getting bad, and it was a giant tumor on his kidney. And at that point, once they found that, they did a bunch of other tests. Because it was in the kidney, it had already spread through the bloodstream. It was he had spots on his lungs, he had spots on his skull, spots on his liver. It had just kind of taken over very quickly. So a lot of times they try to treat it with immunotherapy, and unfortunately that did not work for him. His body fought that. Actually on the day of the Boston Marathon last year, he went in for another treatment. I cannot remember the name of the treatment, and it was a really serious one, and they knew there'd be some pretty bad side effects. But it was kind of his last shot, and unfortunately it didn't work. And the cancer just beat out every treatment that he had. He was on all sorts of different chemo pills and radiation, and eventually just his body just gave up.
Man, I'm sorry about Keith, man. I really am.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know the exact stats, but I know when he was diagnosed, I think the survival rate was something like 2 to 5%, and in the short time frame, those 3 years, I think it's up to like 17% now, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a pretty big jump.
It's a big jump.
Considering, yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
they're making gains. Like this will be great when you hit that 250K or maybe even 500,000 one day, and you keep growing this throughout the rest of your life, and maybe even beyond, and maybe even his daughter will help you continue to grow it when she's older. Like I bet you this will make a huge impact, and that 2 to 5, now 17, will become 30 and 40, hopefully, and even higher one day, and help save a lot of people.
Yeah, I truly hope that's the case. And his doctor, Dr. McGregor, I mean, all the nurses at Dana-Farber, they were just incredible. He was there. He was hospitalized for, I think, 3 or 4 weeks before he passed, and just the nurses at Dana-Farber, everyone was just so amazing. So I want to just help them as much as I can to just help other families. So.
Absolutely. So for this particular fundraising journey, do you have any special events coming up or anything that's going to help boost up your numbers?
Yeah, so I've actually hit my 20,000, which is pretty cool. My sister
congratulations,
is
amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, so we do a lot of football themed fundraisers throughout the year. So that's kind of gone away now, right? We actually have a big cornhole tournament coming up. It's actually this coming Sunday in Tingsboro.
Very cool.
And hopefully that'll put us over the finish line for this particular $40,000 goal. We do a lot of drawings. Not supposed to call them raffles. So we do a lot of drawings, and I'm very fortunate to have a lot of people that donate some really cool prizes. A couple I know Dirk Bentley's management team, so they give us tickets and passes to do drawings for every time I have a fundraiser, which is really cool. We have personal trainer friends that are donating a month of free personal training, all sorts of really great things. A lot of cornhole boards we're giving away, and liquor. Everybody likes liquor.
Love it.
I have to ask, where in Tingsboro is your event going to be?
The Tingsborough's. Oh my God, I should know.
Is it that new place that they have with all the the laser tag or the axe throwing? Is it the new place like that?
Maybe.
I don't know what it's called, but I just found out about it the other day.
Oh, I'm gonna get in trouble for not knowing the name of this place. I don't. It's Tingsboro Sports Center, I believe.
Well, where can everyone find all your stuff, all your info, everywhere to fundraise, your events coming up? Because this is actually going to drop like 3 days after your cornhole tournament. But where can they find all the information on everything you're doing?
So I'm on Instagram. I have a public account on Instagram. My Instagram tag is Natman, NATMMAN, and I post a lot of that there. I also have links on my profile to the website to donate to for the Skinny Pig Fund, and the drawing actually that we're doing is actually going to be held on the 23rd of March. So it sounds like that's a couple days after this airs. So if anyone wants some really great prizes, they should check that out. And it's an online form to enter the drawing. You submit like what you want your tickets to go into. So it's a really cool setup that one of my friends put together for me. Shout out to my friend Margaret Casey, who I met through Teddy's team. A lot of people I've met through Teddy's team. So shout out to them. So my Instagram is probably the best place to go for that.
That's awesome. And you can find pictures of you and Keith on here. You share a lot in this one post. So that Keith looks awesome. Looks like you guys were super cool, best friends, like you said. Let's have a little fun here. Let's talk like maybe some happy memories right now. You've done 10 Boston marathons for Team Teddy. Maybe you've done more, but tell us a little bit about your Boston Marathon experience. What are some fun stories that have come out of Boston for you?
Yeah, so I actually did 8 with Teddy's team, and I did 2 with the Martin Richard Foundation.
Oh, wow.
So 2 really great charities. Some of my best memories. Nothing will ever beat the first Boston Marathon. There's just nothing like it, right? Going down Boylston Street for that first time. I will say, nothing really stands out to me from that first marathon, though, other than it was my first marathon. It was my first Boston. My second one, it was 90 degrees. It was miserable. And I just remember, and I remember running down Boylston Street with 3 of my teammates. We were all soaked because we were running through every hose we could find, dumping water on us. And my calves seized up in like the last like 10th of a mile.
No.
And so I had put my arms around like two of my teammates. And then all of a sudden I could feel my shorts just sliding down because they were so waterlogged. And one of my other teammates, Jen, so I just looked at her. I was like, Jen, you need to pull my pants up right now. And it was right when we were in front of the Lennox Hotel, which is where the Teddy's team headquarters was. So there's all the cameras right there, and they're taking photos. And there's a great photo of the 4 of us, like arm in arm, crossing the finish line. But I'll just never forget like the feeling of my shorts sliding down.
Oh
and
no.
I'm gonna moon everyone at the finish line of the Boston Marathon.
That's
And
a great
Eric,
story.
I think I heard that you ran a really wet and awful Boston. Was that 2015 or 2018?
I did 18.
Okay, so I did 18 as well.
It was miserable.
And I ran the whole thing in a poncho. And I will tell you, I felt that's one of the years I ran for Team MR8, and I just felt like a superhero that year because everyone cheering for Martin Richard, running down. I mean, every part of the marathon. So it could have been snowing, it could have been raining, anything. It was just such an amazing feeling to run for them that year. But I do remember taking the right on, left on, and it was just a sea of ponchos because nobody wanted the poncho in their finish line photo.
Yep, I slipped on quite a few of those on my way through that part. Oh my gosh.
Now, last year you didn't run in the marathon, but you got to volunteer. Not only did you get to volunteer, you got to give over 1,000 runners their medal, including my favorite Peloton instructor, Matt Wilpers. Tell me about that.
So I'm a Peloton junkie for sure.
Yes.
And I went to the marathon, Team Wilpers shakeout run the day before. And I was like, hey, Matt, I'm giving out medals at the finish line. So you're going to get it from me because I'm like your biggest fan. So,
yes.
So yeah, I tracked him the whole day, and he was like, how am I going to find you? I'm like, you're not going to find me. I'm going to find you. Don't worry. I will track you.
I'm taking care of this. Don't worry.
And then I could tell when he finished, like, I don't know if you've heard him do his recap of the marathon, but it was a pretty miserable experience for him. And I could kind of tell that when I saw him, and I felt awful, but it was nice to give him his medal. But
I haven't heard his recap, but could you put in a good word and have him come on the podcast and tell us?
All I know is that it was hot that day, and he ran really fast. So I can imagine how bad he would feel at the end of that. Yeah.
And he did wave to us and gave us a smile, and I got it on video.
Yes, so, he's a super nice guy. Great coach.
Man, this was cool. Like, we don't know a whole lot going into all these Boston runners here. We don't do enough homework. We typically do for like a guest that we have when we talk to one a night, but not 7. But I found that little tidbit on you about Matt, and I was like, I can't wait to have you on. And then you blew me away with a story about your brother and Keith, because that I had no clue about. Like, wow, what a story. What a thing you're doing, growing the Skinny Pig Fund and honoring your brother Keith. I really hope that this goes like beyond the next year or so and honors him for years and years and years. And you not only do you hit that one, it was 100,000, but then you're 250,000, but then go for a half and go for $1 million. Whenever you got cool things coming up, especially around running and marathon days, like let us know, man. This is super cool for us to find out and learn about. And the fact that you're local, like Erica lives in Nashua, just down the street from Tingsboro.
That's why I asked what's in Tingsboro, because I'm like, that's like 10 minutes from my house.
So you're really not far, and this is super cool. And then we're Peloton junkies too. We'll have Matt on one day.
I'm 6-star Erica on Peloton, exact same as my Instagram. So feel free to follow me on the Peloton, and I'll follow back.
Yeah, and we're hoping to do a Peloton takeover next year in January. So we'd love for you to come for that too. Like that would be super cool, man.
Nice.
What a pleasure this has been to meet you.
So a shout out to another Peloton instructor, Alex K. He actually did a row dedicated to brothers, and it was to his brother and my brother.
Oh,
Wow.
It was a January 13th 60-minute endurance row. So anyone out there should check it out. It was really special.
I'm gonna do it on my phone. I don't have a rower,
Yeah.
but we do at work. I'm
It
gonna
was
check
pretty
that
cool.
out on my phone.
All I know is that he's one of the newest tread instructors, so I'm gonna have to start taking his classes too.
I was just there for his tread premiere, and he's a great coach too. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you
He's
were
a
in the
great guy.
class with like Bex and Mariana, and like there was a whole bunch of other Peloton people in there.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Mariana's my other favorite. So it's a good group.
Perfect.
Dan, I have a feeling you're going to be a long-term close friend to the pod here. Yeah. Yeah, this
Well, we
is
hope
great.
so anyways, but it's fun. We have a lot in common.
This is great. Listen, man, one last thing here. What's your plan for the Boston Marathon? Is this going to be a victory lap? Are you going for time? What's your game plan?
So I hired a coach. It's actually Alex's brother, Nick. He's been working with me since November. I actually ran the Chicago Marathon a couple weeks after my brother passed, and I had a goal to get a sub-4. And it was just a very emotional run for me. And I was close, but every mile was just, I just kept thinking why I was out there, and it didn't jive. So I ended up crossing the finish line like 4 minutes after 4 hours, which is still good.
Mm-hmm.
But I was so disappointed in myself, and I just wanted to do something different, right? So I've run a lot of marathons, and I wanted to make them more meaningful, and I wanted to make my brother proud. So I went out and hired a coach, and he's been working with me really hard. My goal is to get a marathon PR. So my marathon PR right now is a 3:52. So my hope is to come in under that. My B plan is to get a Boston PR, which is anything under 4:06. So that's my goal. My goal is to just try to go out there and crush it. But April can be really shitty
Right.
weather.
Right. Well, listen, we don't want to slow you
Knock
down.
on wood for you.
Yeah. Well, listen, we don't want to slow you down, but at mile 19 on your left, that's where we'll be. Just past, like, call it 19.2, okay? Near
All
the
right.
Johnny Kelly statue. And if you give us a wave, that's great. If you stop and say hi real quick, that's great. But if you just got to run by and give us a little "What's up, guys?" because you got your goal, go for it. Keep going. But if
All
you
right.
want something, Erica will have a cooler. She'll
Let me
get you a
know. I'll
cold
hook you up.
Coke, a snack, whatever you want. She'll hook you up.
I'll tell you, if it's hot, Erica, there's nothing better than freeze pops.
Ooh.
So I'm just saying, like,
if I can keep those frozen, I absolutely will, because I feel like a lot of people would love those.
a lot of people would love that. They're
right.
amazing. That's like the best thing you could ever have during a marathon is a freeze pop.
Excellent.
We're super excited. I'm so glad we got to meet here and hear your story. That's why we're doing this. And wow, what a story you have. You came right out of the gates with it, man, and you hit us with all the feels there. Super proud of you and your sister and your whole family for honoring your brother Keith, man. Kudos. Keep it going. We can't wait to see you. We'll be tracking you and following you in the Boston Marathon.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, guys. I appreciate it. And hopefully I'll see you out there with a freeze pop.
I have to now. It's going to happen, Dan. Don't worry.
All right.
And you did
Thank you
great
for
for your
coming on.
first ever podcast, man. So thank you
Natural.
so
You're a
much.
natural.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Come back when tell us when bigger things happen for the Skinny Pig Fund, and when you need help with something, you let us know.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, that was
You're
great.
a cool guy.
What a joy it was to get to know Dan there. Everyone go there, follow him, find him. Everything will be in the show notes for his fundraiser and his Instagram. Go out there and cheer him on as he's going to get that A goal and that B goal. He's going to crush it, and he's going to raise, I'm going to call it right now, over $1 million in the next 10 years for the Skinny Pigs Fund. Dan, you're the man. I'm sure you've heard that before. Guys, that was a blast. Dan Foley on the On the Runs podcast. Go out there and crush it, dude.
Thank you both. Appreciate it.